Hello! I'm radical. You know your nature. You feel you know the nature of other people as well. The nature of certain types of people. You feel it when you're standing around and listening to them. You say, I know the nature of this type of person. Certain activities you do, they become second nature. That means that they are flowing from you. Then you have this nature here. You make your houses out of it. You decorate it with it. You make everything out of nature. Even this phone here made out of nature. Every single ingredient sourced by nature. Nothing fake there. There is no such thing as fake, artificial. Everything has its own reality. Every atom that is spinning inside the plastic of this phone is spinning as fast and vibrantly as the tree, the atoms that make up the tree. No difference, put them under your microscope. So then what is life? Everything. Truth everywhere. Light everywhere. Darkness, that is, you use the word darkness to describe things you don't want, but it is not dark. The murderer and the one who is murdered go to the same place after. Why would they go different places? In fact, who needs more love? The one who got murdered, who probably knew love, or the one who murders, the one who does not know love? Of course they're going to the place where they're going to get more love. That makes sense to you right now, but do you do it with yourselves? Or do you punish yourselves? Making yourself wrong. What you have done, what you have not done. How much time spent in there. The nature that you see around you has all the signs you need, has all the messages for you. Every animal, everything that you call an element has a quality to it. You have used elements in nature to create your physical world. And through that physical world, you are shifting and growing as a spiritual entity. So what is materialism? Is the tree not material? Why is the tree not material, but the car is material? Do not be into material possessions, they say. Well, you cannot possess anything, that we already know. What people mean by that is not to be enslaved by material possessions. Nothing wrong with material possessions. If an expensive kind of house, whatever expensive means to you, feels like you when you look at it, and also the ocean feels like you when you look at it, why do some people consider that it is better to relate to the ocean than to the expensive house? Why? Are they made of different things? Is one energy more pure? You know how many people who were creative and hardworking it took to make that very expensive house? Many. None in the ocean, if you want to be plain about it. Or do you not respect what people make? You say, I don't need an expensive car. I prefer this one. Why? Why? One has more nobility in it. For another person to have expensive car has more nobility in it. Who is right here? Your perspective on everything is everything. There is no particular energy to a thing, this crystal. It is a healing crystal? Yeah, not if you throw it at somebody's head. Then it is up to them to consider whether the crystal thrown at them was a healing. You know, you can make anything a healing. Violence, you can turn that into a healing. Those who have survived violence, those who then have processed violence and thrived, not just a survivor. They have turned that experience into an evolutionary experience rather than beating up on themselves or the people responsible. All your relationships with everything will change. Past, present, and future. If you adopt a belief that you created or co-created or chose this for a reason on a higher plane, everything will go better. You don't like one of your parents? You chose them. Now go into why. That will be much better for all of you. Use any person you have ever met. It does not have to be a parent. Ask yourself why. Now, it requires a lot of energy. Requires a lot of kind of intentionality. Like anything. But you have to want it, you see. The reason many people don't want to do this is because they feel it does not, in a way, let us say, punish the other person or make them responsible for what they did to you or did not do for you. You want them to know. You want them to feel it. Well, you may wait forever. You got to get your weather systems in order. Nature swirling within you. Getting them in order does not mean controlling them. That means you start to, in a sense, organize energy. Oh, you can explore that one for the rest of your life. What does it mean to organize energy? You understand energy in terms of physical energy. You understand mental energy. For this discussion, let us talk about spiritual energy. When do you tap into that? How do you tap into that? You are already in this flow. It is like you're in a river. The river is always flowing. The river is existence. You can say goodness. So it is always flowing. Some of you clinging to the rocks. Don't want to go down there. Oh, that is fine. You can learn something by clinging to the rocks. It is not going to take you anywhere that you are not supposed to be. So tapping into something called spiritual energy, it just means letting go of, holding on to the rocks. Now, what are these rocks? Why would you hold on to a rock? That is simple: security, safety. But you never actually feel too safe or too secure. It is temporary because the whole time you're trying to figure out how to hold on longer. After a certain period of time, all beings will say, I cannot hold on here anymore. I'm just going to let it take me. There's almost a kind of suicidal energy to that. You can do that. Or you can say, let me hold on to this rock and understand the nature of this river. Let me feel or try to imagine what flow feels like, because many of you might say, I have never felt that kind of flow. I have thought my way through life. I have fought my way through life. So how do I tap into this spiritual energy? First, you would have to adopt a belief. A kind of belief that is very powerful for you. A kind of belief that you actually believe in, that you say, I don't see any holes in this belief. This belief will carry me forever. Until you see another, better belief for you. That would mean that you would have to find this belief. How about reality is perfection? That would mean all things right now in your life. Perfection. You could make that statement your God. Because what is your God? As we talk about these things here, your God is anything that is ruling your thoughts, decisions, and actions. It is not some belief that you have in some Savior. What is ruling your actions? How do you know what your God is? Look at your life. How do you know what your God is? Check in with how you feel. That is your God. That is why most of the thoughts that you thought today, you thought yesterday too. Still holding on to the rocks. What does that mean? Let go, take a chance? That is boring already. Take a chance? On what? That you might win. That things might go your way. That is the same old story with different words. Maybe things will get better. How many times you have said that? I hope they get better. Get yourself better. That is hard for people for a very innocent reason. Sometimes to do that, they feel that it makes them feel alone in the world. I got to change me. Nobody can help me. Nobody can do it for me. I got to do this. So there's a lot of storms going on here. A lot of quicksand. Because it feels lonely to do it. Then you would have to find a belief to help you there. That one might be harder. You might have to think of, well, how do I not feel alone? We could tell you, you're not alone. Everything is you. You say, oh, beautiful spiritual idea, but they cannot connect to that. So you say, I will then try to find experiences to show me oneness. All right. You will begin to experience oneness the moment you want to experience oneness. All of you know how to make yourselves feel better. It is just that some of those ways are not working the same way anymore. Even things that are obviously kind of, healthy for your body, mind, and spirit, take a break from those also. Be more spontaneous. Play more in this life. You are at your best when you surrender to this river. It requires less effort once you do it. It requires some effort to actually do it. That would mean loosen the grip because the grip is tight on the rock. So it requires kind of spiritual energy right there to say, how do I take my hand from this? Let it go like this and then relax the hand. That is where all your work is. Don't worry about people. You worry about them. This, you forget it. It is all right here. That you can do. That will last you. Obviously. Now, you want to cheapen that experience by calling it, oh, but it is alone? This is for you. You being good to yourselves. You taking care of you. That does not mean alone. This is your existence. There is a lot more, let us say, play going on in the universe and in your world on this planet as well than you realize. There's a lot of humor behind a lot of things. Animals, they have a sense of humor, you just haven't tapped into their sense of humor just yet. But they joke amongst each other. From hippopotamuses to eagles to insects, they have a kind of humor. Your dogs, your cats, fish, all of them. You think they're just there to eat, consume. They have feelings, they have humor amongst them. They also know that you may eat them, they don't mind. Why? Because they are not stuck to physical life. Not at all. They know this is an illusion, very much so. But it is a very useful illusion. It does not mean you disregard it here. You chose to be here. So you start to connect all the dots, even though all the dots are already connected. We just mean you start to connect the dots. You do that, you will never be bored again or lonely. It will be obvious to you. You will not believe how you lived before without this awakening. You don't need to get the career you want to have an awakening. You don't need to get the money you want, the relationship you want, the physical wellness that you don't need to do. You don't need to get up from where you're sitting. Then we go back a few steps and talk about conditions. When that happened, then all right. When I have millions of dollars, I will be generous. There are homeless people who are generous. You are full of resource. You have just become very narrow, some of you, in your thinking about what you can do on the planet. What does that mean? Are we talking about, change the world, go build houses for the poor? Not at all. We're not talking about when we say do something on the planet. We mean in your personal experience for yourself, whether you leave a cave or not. What are you doing on the planet? Let us say you lived in a cave and did not go more than 20 yards outside of that cave for 75 years. Does that mean your existence on the planet was for nothing? Many of your ancestors 1 million years ago did that. And their existence was powerful. It was just a focus in this reality. Like your dream state is a focus in another reality. Just like your physical life. When you die, your energy, what you are, will be focused in another reality. Even when this planet is physically gone, you will create another planet. Now, does that mean that you shouldn't care about this planet? No, that is like saying you don't care about the house you're living in because you're going to get another one. Do it with joy or do not do it at all. Otherwise, you're just going to be living a life of trying to fix everything again. Save the planet. Save yourself. Think about that energy. On one hand, you may find heroic energy in it. Save it. What about flow with it? Flow. Find celebration in the flow. So many polar energies you think are happening on the planet. Look at your presidential election. You got this guy over here, Trump. Everybody don't like him. Many don't like him. Why so much energy focused on him? In a sense, it is now come to the ridiculous level. Let somebody spout all of this division and hatred, all of these outrageous things, so that, guess what happens? Conversations move forward. And a certain energy starts to happen where you say, how ridiculous is this now? What are we even talking about now? It is kind of like, you might say, cold water. Not to wake you up, because nothing to wake up here with that man. He does not even know what he is saying. In a way, all he is doing is channeling the energy of thoughts that are already in the head of people. People who are full of fear. So, spouting out of, big mouth. Why? Is it random? Not at all. There's reasons for everything. Brings it out into the open. And some people, minorities especially, are saying, I told you. Look what is happening. He's speaking for all of those people. So now what? Will there be a civil war? Maybe. Will people rise above it? Maybe. Is it bad that he is there? No. It is not bad. Nothing is bad. When you understand a belief that you have chosen that reality is perfection, nothing will be bad in that kind of sense. There will be things you don't want, but you won't have to say it is bad. Why do we say this? Because these words bad have kind of a very heavy, long-term application in your life. Bad things, they happen. Rather than you just saying, that I don't want. I got a good clear view of all sides of that thing. But this exists for a reason. That would be a thinking person rather than a reactive person. Ask yourself, what is the perfection of that man existing and saying the things he does? You would have to come from a belief that it is for evolution. Otherwise, you're going to bang your head against the wall. So substitute him, Trump, for yourself, somebody else in your personal life, somebody from the past, somebody from the present. Put any face on there you want. The principle will be the same. What is the perfection of this existing in your life? The moment you even adopt that belief, mastery begins to happen. Can't you sense it yourself? We don't need to prove it to you. You have a sense. Because one comes from reactive suffering and the other comes from observation. processing, understanding. No chaos, no danger, no fear. Because even when the planet is gone, like we said, you will make another one. You will put more dolphins, you will put more elephants and more tigers, whatever endangered species you want to create again. You created them. All of you. You're saving the planet, as you say. It's only about you. Your evolution as a soul. This all that is illusion. Like your hands. So this is kind of a structure you have set up for yourselves, and a very good one. To have a physical existence through which you learn many things. But if the planet exploded right now, you still all would be fine. So would the dolphins and the buffalo. You suddenly would wake up on a new dimension, a new planet, maybe similar to this one. And you say, oh, so we did it again, now what? Oh, maybe it was not about saving the physical. Maybe it was about the process of trying to do that. Like all of your goals. You got to have it. So many will tell you, the ones that have the things you all want, they always say, not what you think. And what is the natural response? Oh, let me try it. I will show you that it is. All right. But you're so tight about getting it, that is why you don't get it. You think it has to do with talent. Not at all. It has to do with tightness. Do it make sense to you? Tightness, that you have to have it. That is when you will be the real you. Who is this? The sufferer. The manipulator, the strategist. What about the visionary? What about the one surrendering to the river? Make up new terms for yourself. The old ones get boring. New things excite you. New ways of thinking will change everything. You think you have to be better at the thing that you love to do for it to be successful. Maybe, but that is not what is going to get you successful. How do you know? Look at some of the ones who are doing what you want to do. They're not as proficient at that skill or talent as you would think. So how do others have what you want? Usually they are looser. You say, but I know some who are maniacal about things and they got it. That is your perspective, but you don't know the inner energy there. They are loose in their maniacal behavior. So they are on the inside and you feel on the outside. So it is kind of surrendering to, again, the river that you are already on the inside. This is a feeling-based existence. When I come around to you tonight, you can ask any question. No question is too serious or too silly. If it is heartfelt, and maybe I can help you find a way to let go of the rock and tell you about the temperature of the water, maybe a few, yards down the river stream. You ready? Alright, we begin message time. I start with that man right there. Hello!